Welcome, Sat Sri Akal, to the Love, Laugh, Live chat show with the gorgeous Dav Ubi and myself, Gudal Garcha.
So प्यार करो हंसो ते जुग जुग जियो वाला show. So this show is about how do we love with passion?
Yeah.
How do we laugh with pleasure and how do we live with peace?
So what does this mean? It means प्यार करो सारे दिल दे नाल, हंसो दिल भर के and जियो शांत दे नाल.
So my name is Devinda Ruby. I'm a life and spiritual coach.
And my name is Gudal Garcha and I'm an empowerment and resilience coach.
I had to move the bottle.
Again.
So you can ask me what the topic is.
Yeah. So this is one of our favourite topics and Dav definitely specialises in this area.
I think we both do, and in a way we all do.
We complement each other.
Yeah,
anyway.
definitely.
Yeah.
And so if you listen to the last week's episode, we talked about exactly how does one go inside, meaning what's the purpose of going inside of the feather gear. And because it's like you said, this topic is so vast, it's so big, we had to do it in 2 episodes. So I'm going to explain a little bit what it means to go inside. So there's many riddles about growth, personal growth, that we experience when we go inside. So actually everyone is already going inside. So if someone asks you how you feel or what you think, or if you remember to lock the back door, you automatically do go inwards for that answer, because the answer always lies within. And so your attention is no longer on the outside, and you suddenly find yourself, you've gone inwards. And so going inwards also means that the whole point to become aware of these subconscious beliefs, our programs, our assumptions, you know, the patterns, the wounds, the stories, is to become more conscious of them. So what's actually under ki ho raha, and the stories we keep telling ourselves, because the stories we keep telling ourselves again and again, that's what actually are projected out, and sali baliya dunya, that's what we experience. So this is for us on a coaching perspective, we're going to give you signs and understandings of what's the purpose of going inwards at the feather gear. And so we're going to start off slightly different today.
Yeah, so we're going to, start off slightly differently today with a Buddhist story, and it's called The Power of Silence, the Importance of Staying Silent has the power to change your life. So here we go. Hope you really enjoy it. We'll take it in 2 parts. So once upon a time in India, there was a famous Buddhist monk who lived deep in the quiet forest, far from the noise of the town. He was a very meditative person and was also very famous. So one day a king came to him and said, "Respected monk, I always feel tired, frustrated and upset. My mind is very restless, even though I have everything, wealth, fame and all the luxuries one could desire. There is still no inner peace within me. Oh monk, please help me to get rid of this restless mind." The monk said, "You already hold the answer within you, but you have never discovered it. I want to do an experiment. After this experiment, there will be no unrest and no worry. So for the next 15 days, you will stay in my monastery and live like a normal person. You will sit alone in silence and speak as little as possible." The king agreed to the monk's plan. So over to you.
I hope you like the story so far, so I'm going to continue with the rest of the story. So on the first day, he noticed that his mind was more restless than before, and many questions and thoughts kept popping up, and he felt very uneasy, and so he really wanted to talk, but resisted the urge and stayed completely silent, just sitting quietly. But as the night went on, he began to feel an unexpected sense of calm and happiness. This experience puzzled him because he couldn't understand why his restlessness was fading away, holly. The next day, the king continued to spend time in solitude watching nature, flowers, plants, and the birds in the sky. That's like you. So for the first time, he truly appreciated the beauty of nature surrounding him. He could observe and connect with the natural world all around him. 10 days went by and all the inner restlessness, the bejeni, and the chaos in his mind gradually started to vanish. On the 12th day, he found himself entering a deep meditation as his eyes closed. On their own, he entered into a deep state and became free from worry. The king experienced profound inner peace, and on the 15th day, the king approached the Buddhist monk and said, "Respected monk, I have discovered why my mind was so troubled. I used to talk too much and spend a lot of energy on people, often thinking negatively about them. This excessive talking and negative thinking wasted my time and made my mind disturbed. As a result of this behavior, I couldn't perform my task effectively, and I started failing in almost everything I was doing. This continuous failures made me feel more unhappy and easily annoyed. However, these 15 days were a transformative experience. Now I feel like I'm truly living life to its fullest. And I realized that before that I was living in the wrong way. I also realized that we don't have to force meditation, it happens naturally." The monk replied, "The importance of being silent is to dive deep within ourselves. It's the first step to truly knowing oneself. Without silence, self-discovery is impossible." So that's the story, and now we're going to discuss that.
Yeah, so before we discuss the story, I'm just going to quickly recap what we discussed last week. So there are different steps of going inwards. So there's meditation. I mean, obviously you can look further into this, or you can watch last week's program on YouTube, where you'll be able to catch up. So there's the meditation, and Buddha was asked, "What have you gained from meditation?" He replied, "Nothing. However, Buddha said, let me tell you what I lost: anger, anxiety, depression, insecurity, fear of old age and death," similar to what this king's talking about. So then there's yoga, there's chanting, visualizations, using your imagination. Outer reality is dead, and the inner reality is 4D. So we discussed those last week. But going back to the story,
I mean, these are all about reasons to go inwards, the Vedakya, and these are the steps to go inwards. So if you do watch a previous one, we discuss it more in depth.
In a lot of depth,
what chanting means and how the visualization is all about inner work, living in that inner reality. So yeah, I mean, so we do it, but it doesn't mean we're ever going to stop doing it. We just master the skill doing it more and more. Well, there's a fly around here. Did you notice?
Yeah, I hope it doesn't get anywhere we don't want it to get. Anyway, so going back to the story, I mean, for me, I just thought it's such a beautiful story, and it really explains it in such a good way. I mean, it was really brilliant that the king even recognised what was happening and also consciously decided that he didn't want to live that lifestyle. And it also shows that he had everything. He had accommodation, he had so many luxuries, he had everything that he wanted, but he still felt restless. He wasn't happy. You know, there was something that was going on, you know, becheni, kabrat, you know, all those things, because he didn't feel that peace of, even though he had everything, he was still living a life of unhappiness, I suppose.
It's because what he realized that that most of the talking that we do when we're not being silent, 90% of it is harmless. I mean, it's harmful, because we find ourselves into a place of comparison, judgment, criticizing, and those
gossiping as
gossiping.
Well.
This is all harmful, and so what he's trying to say, it would have been much better if, let's say, people didn't talk too much, because it could literally reduce 90% of our problems in this world if we didn't talk too much, only spoke when it was meaningful to speak. But like I said, most of our conversation is always on negative, topics. So if people did speak less, there'd be less conflicts, less fights, restlessness, and there'd be more harmony in this world. So like he said, he did find himself that when he got to that stage, he didn't, we think we have to force ourselves to be in that meditative state. All he did first, that he just didn't talk as much, he didn't complain, he just kept himself just to enjoy the environment. And when meditation up there, because people have still a problem, I can't meditate, I don't know how to get into that place. But he said you don't force it to happen, just by speaking less and being in a solitude place as much as you can. Up in naturally, his eyes closed and he went inwards.
And it's about being fully present.
Yeah.
So he was noticing things that he probably wouldn't have noticed before. You know, he was in the woods and he noticed the trees and the birds. So a lot of meditation is about being present, because most people will, if they try to meditate, will be thinking about whatever they're worried about or whatever they're going to do. So then that stops you from even going into the meditative state, because your mind is racing all the time, and you've constantly got a to-do list of, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this. So that is what is actually stopping you from even getting to that place. You know, your breathing, what you're thinking, how you're acting. So you've got to consciously, it's almost like slowing everything down.
Yeah. So when we're going inwards, you actually realize that you are the ultimate ruler of your inner world. You know, that's where life begins, and that is where happiness is born. Utto janam ho raha, not out there. The real birth of happiness happens inwards, in that world we live in our mind, in our hearts. So the inner journey is like watching your own life, just apni life, this movie bana rahe hain, dekh rahe hain. You know, what we're focusing on, the people that we create to what we, you know, how we're describing them and how we think of them, the assumptions we have about them. So this is when life goes through its own ups and downs, and it's because we created exactly what's happening in. We are, like you said, the director, the producer, the author, everything.
Of our own movie.
Our own movie, our own life circumstances.
Yeah.
So this is where it's so powerful to go inwards as much as you can. And the more you do it, you find that you'll be going inwards throughout the day, even with your eyes open.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to use a quick example here. So, for instance, if you use, you know, if you imagine a woman or a man who constantly gossips, talks about that person, this person, that person. So they're constantly accumulating more and more information. You know, people's worries, people's troubles, people's triumphs, and as well as having your own, you know, own family's information, you've now got so many other people to think about. So as much as it might just be a bit of harmless gossip, but you're accumulating so much baggage, and that in itself, it's got to be heavy. It can't be light. I mean, and then that person who, imagine, gossips to everybody is then sharing that information further. So that is making that problem even bigger. So you're not actually doing anything that's helping anybody. And I know it's natural to talk about people and here and there and do whatever you're doing. But if you're doing it constantly, imagine the effect it's having on your body. And this is the reason why, you know, it would naturally be hard to meditate, because you are carrying all the time so much baggage around with you, and that would be from a very young child. You know, not only your own traumas, but your family's traumas and your communities and where you've come from. There is so much stuff that is not even just from your own self, but from, you know, previous lineages, your ancestry and things like that. And this is why it's so important for us to reconnect with who we truly are, and to live a life that's actually the way the king, it's been described in the story, where it's a more fulfilling life, because you're not talking as much, you're not using the wrong energy in the wrong place, you're actually bringing everything back to where you are as a person.
And also you've got to be aware of that. If you are focusing more on the negative aspects of life and people, even if you're not talking to them out there, because whatever we're focusing on, we're emitting the energy out. So if you're emitting energy of like low vibrational thoughts and feelings, so in the environment there's all these thoughts, energy are flying around everywhere, and they will latch onto you.
Yeah. So
sometimes, you know, you find yourself even more spiraling down with this heaviness and restlessness, because you're attracting all those negative thoughts. Thoughts don't just end in people's mind, they're everywhere in our environment. So they will also be drawn to you. So that's why going inwards, we find ourselves always protecting ourselves from those thoughts around. And then what would happen going inwards, there's the good thoughts around in the environment as well, so there you be attracted to them. So all of a sudden you feel like, especially in nature, because in nature there's all the thoughts and energies of let's say there's no resistance, it's just peace and harmony and acceptance, you know, surrender. Those are the energies that's in the environment. So when you're spending time in there, those what are attracted to you and they stick on to you.
Yeah.
So that's all that's happening, and we don't see that with our visual, you know, eyes.
So just be mindful of you know, the kind of company that you're keeping, you know, and how that actually does affect you in terms of what we're talking about. So as we said that last week, we went through all the different steps of going inwards. So now we're going to talk about focusing on the wish fulfilled.
So this is all these steps to go inwards. So what's focusing on wish fulfilled means? For me,
we're going to use the example of the mother.
So wish fulfilled. So you're imagining yourself that whatever I desire, whatever I'm imagining on, that, like, because remember we said had this visualization, you're imagining something. So imagining something already ho gaya. So let's say a woman who wants to have a child, instead of her visualizing, imagining that she's pregnant, she just found out. So the wish fulfilled is that she's imagining that her child's already, like maybe is in infant school, she's watching his you know, school Christmas performance or plays.
Yeah.
So you're visualizing, and the wish fulfilled that, oh, it's the baby's first birthday, and you visualize sare aaye hoya, that everybody's badaiyan de raha, and then the cake cutting. So you're visualizing and imagining the wish fulfilled, that means ho gaya. And this is where we learn the virtue of that we as jadar das karde hain, path karde hain, you're always doing that shukrana. It's already happened in your place of gratitude. This is going inwards, that you allow yourself to be in that place. It's already happened. Ho gaya.
I mean, another example we could use is it's almost like ordering something from Amazon.
Yeah.
So if you're in a place where you haven't met your right partner, you might write down, well, you know, this is what I want. I want him to be tall, dark and handsome. Obviously, everybody wants that. But, you know, you might go into specifics, or you might want to buy a house, and you might write a list of all the stuff that you want in terms of a house. So you're living from that place of, you've already got it, but you're actually imagining it. You're feeling like you've got the key, you're turning the key in the door, you're walking in, you're imagining exactly what it looks like, how it feels, what it smells like. So it's not like you're praying for it, because praying for something is wanting something. So it's always going to be coming. It's never actually going to have arrived. Whereas the wish fulfilled is something that you're already experiencing within yourself. You've already got it. So instead of asking for it, you've received it, and you're saying thank you.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite way of looking at things, and that's a really different way of thinking about it.
Yeah, and you just
because we're used to praying, aren't we?
Yeah, we're used to, because if we're praying for something, that means I haven't got it. It's like coming from a lack or the absence of it.
Yeah.
So like I said, how the universal laws work, that it only gives you what you believe. You only get what you believe. So if you believe I haven't got it yet, it'll just give you more of that not having it yet. So we've got to believe that, how would I got to, in my subconscious mind, because subconscious mind only believes what you're focusing on. Only thinks that अपनी कहते हैं ना अपनी गुरबानी जो मांगे ठाकर अपने से सोई सोई देवे. So ਅਸੀਂ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. We don't realize that constantly ਮੰਗਦੇ, but we don't realize this ਕੀ ਮੰਗਦੇ. Sometimes we end up we always focusing on thoughts like, if I had this, then I'll be happy. And
ਜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦੀ, ਜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ.
So it's an ਉਹੀ ਮਿਲਣਾ ਆ. So if we're focusing on the lack of something, you know, then we get more of that. Because our high conscious that I'm only going to give you what you believe to be true, your circumstances to be in the present moment. So right now, if you're feeling not enough, not good enough, right now you're feeling you're not healthy, right now you're feeling that you're not rich enough, I'm only, because I'm non-judgmental, I'm unconditional love, I'm only going to give you what you're focusing on. There's no judgment there. Rab has no judgment. It's not going to say that's right or wrong. Rab is just saying whatever you're focusing on, that's all I'm going to give you.
So this is where you have to shift your focus and think, well, what is it that I really want? Do I want to feel like I've never got enough? So it's the opposite. It's always thinking about, well, I've got more than enough.
Yeah.
You know, I'm leading such an abundant life, even if you don't feel like you've got it there and then. But it's the feeling, it's the thoughts, it's how you present yourself, how you walk and talk. It's like acting, it's like being an actress or an actor and acting like you've already got it. So you're coming from a completely different place, the opposite of what you actually are experienced at that particular time.
Yeah, we do get tested on this because you said you call it the bridge of incidents. Like, let's have a wish fulfilled that I want to manifest, let's say £10,000, whatever, to pay off something. But then I find myself getting a fine, or I find myself there's a, you know, I need to owe money to someone. It's come out of nowhere. It tests you because I still have to, you know, reprogram my mind thinking I'm abundant, already have the £20,000. So what would I do then if I get a fine? Because all of a sudden you're thinking, oh my God, I'm losing money out again. So I want to feel abundant. So then I'll think, okay, I've got a choice here, and it's all about choice. I can feel rejected here, feel disappointed here, or I can feel, you know what, in my account, I still got enough to pay for that fine.
Yeah.
You know, I
so
didn't
you're still
expect
feeling
it.
abundant.
Yeah, I'm still feeling abundant, but very heavy to pay off that fine. I didn't want the fine, but if it has, but still feel abundant. So there, I'm changing my energy around that experience. Instead of feeling, oh, the lack, feeling disappointed, मेरे पैसे तो बंद ही हो गए, I'm losing out even more now. मैं तो manifest करने से 10,000, मैं और भी fine आके I've lost more. Instead of me thinking that way, which doesn't feel nice, just thinking about it, then I think, at the end of the day, I still got enough. So I'm reprogramming and creating new neurons in my mind, thinking, I'm still abundant. I still got enough to pay for this fine. And the £10,000, that's always up naturally. I have them. That will come to me.
And think about the way you're feeling. So when you're feeling abundant, you're going to feel good. When you're feeling like lack and you haven't got enough, you're going to be feeling low. Yeah. So this is the reason why it's always better to feel like you've already got it, because you're going to feel good and you're going to be raising your vibration. People are going to think, oh wow, I wonder what's happened. Yeah. So this is the difference of feeling you know, abundant as opposed to feeling lack. Yeah. Anyway, so the next one is the self-concept. So I'm going to read this to you. Everyone assumes their limitations, and you have to figure out what yours are and assume a higher concept of yourself. Assume this by telling yourself a new story about you, about how you are loved by everyone and are the most fantastic person, how you are an important person, and how things always work out in your favor. When you believe that you are loved, desirable, a priority, irreplaceable, and irresistible, you automatically change your assumptions about others. So how that person appears in your reality. So the approach is to always change your assumptions. The higher self-concept almost all the time will assume this. So everyone loves and respects my time, my decisions. The belief is the same. Thought that, you know, you kept thinking about, it's just happening repeatedly. This is how so this is your new concept as opposed to your old concept. So your old concept would be, oh, I'm so tired, you know, people don't appreciate what I do, you know, my job's so hard. So what you're doing is you're doing the opposite. So you're thinking, oh, you know what, I feel so energized, you know, people really appreciate everything that I do, you know, even though my job's hard, I just really enjoy it. So you're thinking from a really, really positive place. So your self-concept, what you're thinking about yourself, is coming from a place of abundance. It's coming from a place of positivity, and that's how you're going out living your life, and then that's what you're projecting to other people.
Yeah, so like I said, the external world is just what you say, it's all shaped from our self-concept. So through my own experience, once I decided to change my self-concept from a lower concept, self-concept, to a higher valuing self-concept, my Bali dunya aaphe badal gayi. You know, I didn't have to put an effort to make anyone understand me. You know, before I used to do that, when I had a lower self-concept, where I used to say, I don't feel accepted, no matter how much I try. Meri qadar karde nahi hai. I've always been the one to make the effort, to make up. I'm always the one that had to sort of like bow down. And but that's my self-concept. That's what I believed about myself. And then when I changed all of that into the opposite of that, where other people love to spend time with me, other people value what I do, they respect what I do, and I respect what I do. And the more I'm prioritizing myself, then others want to prioritize me. When I'm supporting myself, others want to support me, others want me to do well, others want me to excel. See the difference there? And when I started believing that and saying it so often, oh sachi bar adai hon lag gaya. So the universe will work in your favor. It will do exactly what story and self-concept you are constantly repeating in your head. So that's how making life work for me. Before I was the one that responsible when it's working against me. Oh, we main hi kardi sigi. Hun vi main hi kardi haan because changing my self-concept.
So really you're going from being a victim to being a creator. So rather than having life happen to you, you're actually going into a place of creating what you'd rather have, which is obviously going to be happier than being a victim.
Yeah. So that's one thing everybody can, you can read about self-concept and
go on YouTube.
Yeah, and if you don't want to do that, just see what's not working right in your life and just change it to that self-concept. Oh, it is easy for me to get up early in the morning. Before my self-concept, oh, it's so hard to get up in the morning. Just change it to the opposite.
It's the language that you use,
exactly.
The power of thoughts.
So just change it to where it will eventually, will conform outside. But like I said, it takes patience and a lot of repetition. So the next one, another step to go inwards, is sitting with your emotions. So when triggered, it could be emotions or illness, whatever it is. So thoughts just want to move through us, because when we're sitting with them, we're allowing ourselves to honor that experience. And when we honor it, they just want to move through it, because I think emotion is about movement. And when we're not sitting with them, they become stagnant and stuck, and then eventually they manifest into illness or symptoms. So they are temporary, but we create our own stress by touching onto them and becoming our emotions, and often act them out by believing this story as real. So we create our own reality by believing them and giving the power of our belief to the false self. It's like believing in a dream instead of letting our emotions pass through us, no matter how painful. We should remain present. So when we're saying about false self, when we start believing in those emotions and those story, when we become attached to that story, like say, Mera Bobura Gita, I was there helping them 24/7, and they came and they betrayed me, they went behind my back, they spoke badly about me, all those sort of things. And we're so much in that pain and that hurt, and we become attached to that pain and hurt, thinking we identify ourselves with that, and so absorbed and sucked into the story that we find ourselves, instead of going inwards, we've gone more on the outwards and made that our identity, our reality, and made it so real. And all what happened was the trigger that we got. It was supposed to help us go inside, so we allow ourselves to just observe and feel them. By feeling, we heal them and not come attached to them, just observe them. And that's the importance of going inwards, because they helped us, made us aware this hurt we're holding on to, we don't know for how long, that it needs to be addressed and transmuted back into love and peace and harmony with us, and forgiveness and all those sort of things. So it's like you said, even an illness is a way of bringing attention back to go inwards again.
It's waking us up, isn't it?
It's all a wake-up call to go back inwards and just, out of curiosity, what is in me that created all of this? The illness, the person behaving that way, the rejection, the betrayal. What is it in me that created it? And that's why these things happened. And that's another very important reason to go step inwards. And when we say something like an illness and the doctor outside said this is incurable, really what that means, if we separate the word, stepping inwards, it means in, cure, above. That means the cure in. So what we always think that the outer circumstance, we become powerless to it, but the power lies within when we know we've got the cure to anything when we're going inwards. So that for me, again on a personal experience, that where I found my peace, where I found myself was under, no matter how much I tried outside, but that just inflicted more suffering, more pain, and more of the same. But every time it came back more intense, to the point I had to literally go on my knees and thinking, I can't continue like this, help. And when he asked for help, and then God said, okay, I was just waiting for you, weird kind of thing, to surrender, because once you surrendered, you've gone out of the energy of resistance, then that energy can step in. It can't step in until we completely make a decision, now you take over.
Yeah, totally.
So do you want to say anything more about that?
So it's just, we're unconsciously creating our own suffering, and we all know that, that the thoughts that we have, we're constantly, ruminating on them.
Yeah.
We're thinking about them. So if someone's hurt us or upset us or made us angry, we're living that again and again.
Yeah.
And so our body, our mind, our thoughts, why do people get depressed? Because that's how things are happening. That's what they're constantly focusing on. They're not present. They're thinking about something that isn't reality. That's something that happened a long time ago, but unfortunately, for some reason, they're holding on to it. Yeah. And that is shaping their life as they speak. And then, unfortunately, when you are in that place, you will attract those kind of people who will agree with you, who will just, reinforce your story and not say, well, let that go. Now it's time to just, be present. Think about all the things that are going well for you. So this is what happens, So we do create our own suffering, even though, sometimes, really, really tragic, sad things happen. And yes, they happen to all of us. But at the same time, there is a time where we do have to let go. We have to go inwards and look at what's really going on and not attach ourselves to these emotions that are happening, because that is actually what's creating the suffering, because we haven't accepted the reality of the situation, and we're kind of just going over it again. And again, we miss the message of what the pain was, what it was there for.
So if you think about the things that have happened in the past, that what we thought was going against us, if you reflect, you realize that if those things hadn't happened, we won't be on this, where we are in our journey in our life now. They're always serving us. So when we let go of the blame, so now I'm at the place right now, and I know you are, that I cannot blame or hold any resentments towards those situations or people in my life, because they led me to this, where I'm in my life now, where I'm feeling more at peace and harmony with myself. And because of those difficult, challenging situations, when I've let go of blame, I actually feel like because of those exact people and situations, that I've helped me to go step inwards and find myself again. Because we come into this world, we get amnesia, we forget who we are, but because of those situations, they allowed us to step inwards, and we consciously create our own sufferings when we hold on to blame, and consequently we miss the message that the pain is telling us. The pain is a beautiful message. We just need to sit with it and get the divine message from it.
And that's something that we all have a problem with. We don't want to sit with our pain and address it. We'd rather just keep busy and do so many different things to avoid feeling that pain, but that pain just doesn't go away, because it's like a damp blanket that you're wearing with you wherever you go. And you know that you need to address it, you need to look at it, and it'll come out in different forms, whether it's illness or anger or frustration, blame. All these different things will play out until you actually go within yourself and find what's actually really hurting you, or because that's where the healing needs to happen. I mean, for us, when we've had difficult situations, I personally always try and find the fun in it, try and change it to something that not only did we learn from it, but we can just laugh about it now because it really wasn't that serious. But at the time, it felt really, really heavy and serious and brings up lots of different emotions. But my thing is that, you know what, it was there just to teach us this and maybe
but
look at it in a different way.
It is because we get to that awareness that what is it me that created it? How did I attract it in the first place? Now we attracted it. Okay, now we can either, you know, wallow in it and be miserable or suffer
and
with
go
it.
on and on and on
about it. Or let's make something fun out of this, and that's what we do. But another thing I was going to mention, that what is our worst enemy in our life? You know what, it's not the people out there, it's not that person who stabbed you in the back, it's our own thoughts is our worst enemy, because we keep ruminating on those negative thoughts and ending go bunch in the exactly,
something like that.
So we become our worst enemy with our thoughts that we're constantly ruminating on. So if those thoughts didn't exist, where's the problem?
So if you've gone into a meditative state, you've lost all of that. It's not there anymore.
And Jesus' attention nahi de rahe, where the energy is not flowing, it doesn't exist. It fails to exist. So so that's what, how powerful is energy. If you're constantly thinking about it, it's going to be in your face all the time. When you stop giving your attention to it, all of a sudden you don't see it. Why don't you see it? Because you're not fueling it. It's not growing.
It's not in your thoughts.
It's not growing.
So the next one is inner conversation, mental diet. We've mentioned this a lot in most of our programs. So change that inner conversation to the confirmation of you having what you already wanted. How will you feel when you get what you always wanted? So if you imagine, well, how would I feel if I got that job? You know, that really amazing job. How would you feel? You'd feel, oh my God, so good. You'd wear clothes according to that. You'd have a positive mindset. You'd get up early. There's so many positive things. So just imagine yourself having it. What's stopping you? Because you're living from your imagination anyway. So why not make it a positive experience? So, you know, when you get what you always wanted, stay with that feeling and things will manifest for you. At the time, you might think, oh, that's just a load of rubbish. That's never going to happen for me.
Delusional,
but then, of course, if you think that's never going to happen for me, then trust me, it will never happen for you, because you've decided it's never going to happen for you. But if you think, well, you know what, it could, why not? Why not? If it can happen for other people, it can definitely happen for you, but you've got to be in a place to receive it. But if you're not willing to receive it even, then it can't come towards you. But yeah, so that's another one. You know, it's like feeling rich. Sometimes the poorest people in the world feel the richest. If you look at the third world countries, how happy they are, yet they have so little, but they still manage to smile, enjoy their lives, because they're not thinking that I don't have this, I don't have that. They're thinking, well, I've got a roof over my head and hopefully I've got one meal and I'm still alive and I've got water. So that it's all about perspective. So there you go. That's, you know, your inner conversation constantly. What is it that you're thinking about? Because that's where you're living.
So really. You are just, when they say fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
really.
Definitely.
And it's little kids do it. They're always in that in imagination. So it just shows you the chote bache, they know how to use the universal laws. It's just that then they get conditioned, and the society and programs, you know, stop daydreaming. But that's where the power lies, in our imagination. Mama said it's 4D, and that eventually turns to 3D. It's not the other way around. And just speak it into existence. So whatever you're speaking in your mind, speak it into existence. That power of our words. So we're going to go to the next one. Another way to step inwards, by changing who you are in your mind and sticking to that new story no matter what. So it has no choice but to manifest. So do not worry about changing your reality. Always change your mind. Your reality changes to match your inner thoughts. Change your story, change your reality. As long as we keep believing the stories that our mind is telling us, inner peace and living in the present moment will never be possible. So, like I said, energy is currency. So to see it, you know, you won't waste your money, would you? So energy is currency. So don't waste it on your old story. Focus on a new story, and, you know, completely with full conviction, keep going through that new story, speak it, talk about it, act and behave, exactly, people who do that, who want to win the lottery as well, people pretend they already won the lottery, how would they behave, they're living in a mansion. So a lot of people do that. A lot of people who want a relationship, they pretend they're already in a relationship. I knew this lady, she pretended she was with a partner, she had, his side of the wardrobe ready and everything, because she knew how the power and the universal laws worked until she manifested a partner. So this is not something that you're being woo-woo self, this is really powerful stuff. This is how the law works, that just we focus too much on the outside world and we forget the power lies within, not out there. That is dead. This is the old story that's just playing out. It's not even real.
So the next example is, this is somebody that you can look up on the internet, a famous doctor called Dr. Joe Dispenza. So he says to walk through the door of unlimited possibility, we have to leave behind the story we tell about our past. So basically what he's saying is you've got to transition, you've got to consciously make a decision that that's my old story. I don't want to live there anymore. I want to move to something that's so much bigger, so much better, so much fruitful. But you've got to consciously make the decision. You've got to change the way you think, how you feel, in order for that to happen. Because if you're thinking from a place of lack, that I don't live in a nice place, my family always mistreat me, nobody respects me, I can't get a good enough job, I never have enough money. If that's your constant talk in your head, then that's exactly what's going to play out in front of you. But if you change that to the complete opposite, then things will open up for you, and you won't even understand how or why, because I know that we've done it. We've talked about things that we would like to happen, talked about it, and before you know it, things start happening for you. Yeah. And it is magical, but it's about believing it. Yeah. So again, another example, you can always tell what you believe by what you are getting. Our outer world is a sum of our inner beliefs projected out. So if that's what we're thinking inside, if we feel that we're poor and we never have enough of anything, then that is exactly what's going to happen. You can go on to any example. I mean, I can use Steve Harvey as an example. When he was at school, he used to stutter. He's a famous show host, and he's really, really good. And he told the teacher he was going to be a TV presenter and he's going to be really famous. And the teacher ridiculed him and said, "Oh, you're never going to do that. You can't even speak. You're never going to be on television." And now look at how famous he is. So what he does, and this is the funniest part, every year he sends her a television so that she can watch him on the screen. Yeah. I think that's lovely.
It is.
It's a great story.
It is. So
the power of his imagination, because he knew that's what he was going to end up doing.
So now we've got enough understanding and so much information here that we've got to come to this awareness that we are responsible. We are 100% responsible, jo kuch sari bali dunya, because it's what we're thinking, imagining, the inner beliefs that we have. And even if they're playing subconsciously, we still got evidence of what's playing out that we're not consciously aware of. So we can still use the outer circumstances where things are not working right, where we maybe feeling got a belief around money, so we're not earning enough. So somewhere in our internal reality, we've got a belief where money is so hard to to earn, whatever. So we can change that to say money comes so easy to me, and there's so many resources that money just flows to me. I'm showered with abundance. So you change it in a story. So this is why the outer world is, like you said, it's a mirror, is mirroring back under ki ho raha, because there's a lot of things that we're not aware of consciously, but it's buried deep in the subconscious, and the energy there is still emitting out and creating those circumstances. So the next reason it's very important to step inwards is self-inquiry. We all experience personal conflicts from time to time. So one of the most proactive ways to handle arguments and or disagreements is to take a breath and ask yourself, what is this situation trying to teach me? Conflicts occur for one reason. There's a lesson for both parties to learn. So difficult people appear in your life as opportunities for you to create authentic power. So when you try to change them, you remain powerless. As you change yourself so that you are no longer in the control of the frightened parts of our personality, you begin to move through the earth school with the empowered heart, without attachment to the outcome. The more you choose to act from the loving parts of your personality, the more we create authentic power. Remember, we came in this, a world plane to become authentic, to experience our real authentic self. But as a young child, we probably thought it wasn't safe to be authentic. Maybe we experienced an experience where being authentic, expressing our needs, might upset or burden the people or loved ones around me. So we suppress our needs, thinking it's safer to have attachment. So attachment it takes into the separation, the ego way of functioning throughout life, and all this stepping inwards, taking us back to our true authentic self that we somehow forgot when we were young.
Yeah, I mean, and in our previous programme, which would have been on last week, Dav gave an example of the cinema. So if we imagine our life as a cinema screen, and we don't like this part or we don't like that part, then there's the reel in the back, which is our mind, and this is a great analogy, I loved it, so this is why we're using it. If you don't like it, then change it. You do have the power to change it. You might think, I can't change it. You do. Change your mind, look at what it is that you want to change about your life. If you're not happy with this part, imagine it to be better. So your thoughts, because your thoughts are creating your reality. So if you've got a partner that doesn't understand you or care about you or doesn't show you the kind of love and affection, imagine that partner doing all the things that you would like them to do.
Yeah.
And then just practice it, have a go, and feel, he's come home today and he's brought me a great big bunch of flowers, maybe a diamond ring, who knows. But there's nothing wrong with imagining it. And then
imagine big.
Yeah, imagine big. It's got to be unlimited.
What can I say? 3 diamond rings.
3 diamond rings if you're kind of that kind of person. But this is what Dr. Joe Dispenza said, that we are in the habit of thinking small.
Yeah.
And, thinking that we can't have those things. We can't be greedy. We can't expect, life to give us so much. But why not? Life is unlimited. Yeah. But we have been conditioned to think that we are not allowed, or we shouldn't, act or behave in a way that's so big, because our parents or our grandparents said, no, you need to just be a housewife, a cook, or this and this.
Yeah, we're not worthy of living in the riches.
Yeah, you're not worthy of having a massive house, a massive car, all these other things, whatever it is that you want. But you are. There's no way that you are not, but you've got to give yourself the permission to actually imagine yourself first. Like you've said, the 5D, it's got to come from the spiritual side, then coming to the 4D, and then coming out into the reality.
Yeah.
But you've got to give yourself, you've got to imagine yourself being there. But because before imagining it, if you're always going to imagine yourself living in somewhere where you don't want to be, well then that's where you're going to stay, because you haven't thought beyond that.
Yeah. And another thing that we've got to remember, that when we do imagine something, we're not going to get it there and then.
Yeah.
Because if we got it there and then, we will never understand the virtue of faith. Faith is one of the most beautiful virtues of connecting the real true essence of what Rab is.
Yeah,
which
the higher
is love,
self.
faith. So getting it, in the place of just knowing I already have it, in the place of gratitude, that's faith. Then you're thinking, so when we're living in that internal 4D in imagination, we don't feel the lack of it, we don't feel it's missing, because we're already experiencing the joy. What would it feel like if I already had it? I'll be feeling happy, I'll be feeling peace, I'll be feeling just giddy, I'll be feeling abundant. And then you think that I already have it, so then that's what creates faith as well. And also when we're stepping inwards, we get to know who we really are. We are this ocean of abundance. We are this ocean of peace. We are this ocean of knowledge. Then if we're the ocean and we're this vast, how can we possibly think we're not worthy, that we can be lack of, missing anything and absent of anything in our life? And then we don't have to think small anymore. We can imagine anything bigger than you can ever possibly imagine, because you realize, but I am the universe. If I'm the universe, then I'm everything. So why am I thinking small? This is when you step inwards, then you can, without any guilt, without thinking, nah, I don't think that, you can just say, no, I'm deserving. It's my birthright to have all the money that could buy me anything I want comfortably. You know, I can have, my birthright is to be born with perfect health. So this is stepping inwards, we get this awareness. So
give it a go, give it a go.
Yeah.
You know, just try a small thing and then just see, you know, and then just continue doing it. So whatever situation you're in, give yourself the chance. Imagine yourself wherever it is that, you know, whatever makes you happy, whether it's traveling or, you know, moving into a bigger house, whatever it is that you want, give it a go and see if it works out for you. Because we totally 100% believe in this, and because it's happening for us.
I think you should also write down things that you thought about. Oh, sachi ho gaya.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many things you thought about it really happened.
Because that's manifestation.
Yeah.
That is happening.
You did that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you didn't realize that you actually manifested that. Yeah. So if you can manifest good things, you can also manifest not so good things. So where do you want to focus?
Yeah.
Focus on what you really want, what it is that's going to bring you the joy and the happiness, the harmony, the peace in your life. Because it can happen, trust us, we believe it. Yeah, so thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this show. Take care and God bless.
Bye-bye.